And I like to always say, whatever you choose to call the creator by, just make sure that he hasn't been created, he has not been born, and nor has he been made, but he allowed you to be born, and he allowed you to be created. The causeless cause, the rootless root from all things, from which all things have grown. Allah. I give honor to his noble, illustrious prophet. And I give a special honor, a big, big special honor to his noble, illustrious prophet. Because what you're about to hear tonight is the outline, is the blueprint in which the prophet used to put us in power in the 20s. In the 60s, they was fighting for voters' rights. In the 20s, the Moors was voting. The Moors was putting people in position to make sure that we got a fair shake. And that's real talk. That's what we're going in on today. Now, let me turn off some of these beeping sounds real quick, because I want to make sure that we don't get no interruptions. So I'm about to shut this down. I want everybody to share this. The brothers will be coming in a minute, but before they come in, I want to first make sure that I give everybody the outline of what we're talking about here. First of all, we're talking about something that is called, that the brothers and Ali's men coined a phrase called Operation Proclamation. And Brother Sharif, he's going to come in a minute. He's going to come in a minute. Hold up. Somebody turn their mic down.
That's me. Hold on a second.
Oh, okay. So the brother Sharif is going to come in a minute, and a few brothers are going to come in. Brother Ali, share the link with Brother Sharif for me, please. He's going to come in a minute and explain what Operation Proclamation is. Operation Proclamation is a process that we all need to know about, because this process will put us back in position to regain the power that we lost, i.e. our birthrights. Now, one thing I have a problem with is the Monday night quarterbacking. What I mean by the Monday night quarterbacking is they kill one of us and we go tear up the city. I get it. I get it. However, once the city is torn up, the laws are still the same. The police still get paid once he shoots one of us. Most of the time, they go back to work. And if they don't go back to work, they go in covering and hiding, get another job in another city under another name, because they can't work in the same city. They go do something else, but they live their life. While the parents and the family, they suffer. They have to deal with the tragic incident of losing a loved one. We tearing up the city. We burning down the city. We burning up the cars. It happened here in Baltimore with the Freddie Gray situation. It just happened in Charlotte, North Carolina. They marching, they walking, they on the feet to the pavement, and I think Texas right now. When do the marching, the feet to the pavement, stop after the fact? When do we do it before the fact? Before they be killed, they start killing us. When do we start mobilizing? When do we start mobilizing? That's the question. Why do we mobilize after something happened? Why don't we try to reclaim our power before something happened? And this is my problem. This is real a real touchy topic to me, because we're in the Moorish Science Temple of America, and I'm talking about third, fourth generation Moors here. And third, fourth generation Moors is the ones with the mindset to take action and make things happen. Say it again. Third, fourth generation Moors are the ones with the mindset to take action and to make something happen. We ain't talking about getting paper cuts. We ain't talking about facing a judge. We ain't talking about arguing about a traffic ticket. Not talking about that. But we're going to go deep into that in a minute. For right now, let me let my brothers in the chat, because brothers are busy. Some brothers ain't going to be able to stay around through the whole program. So first of all, let me introduce my brother, Grimion Ill, into the chat. How you doing, my brother? Islam.
Islam, Sheikh. All praises due to Allah. Islam, this is brother Zachary Grimion Ill. First, I rise giving praise to the Almighty God Allah, the causeless cause and the rootless roots from which all things has grown. And I give honor to his holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet. In these days and times, we also give honor to that good and gracious brother, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who was the forerunner for the prophet, making the way. Peace and love.
Peace and love. And coming right behind him is my brother, Ali Bey. Ali Bey, come on into the chat, man, and talk to the people. Let them know who you are and what you represent, my brother.
Islam, bro. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, peace and love, bro. Just want to give honors to everybody. Arise, giving praise to Allah. Honors to His holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Honors to the brothers in the family in the Moorish Science Temple. Honors to the brothers in Ali's, man. Again, honors to the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I want to also extend honors to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, our family in the Nation of Islam. And peace to you, brother Tahaka Bey.
Peace, my brother. So, as you know, tonight we're going to be talking about Operation Proclamation. And we know that Operation Proclamation consists of us taking control of our situation. Taking control of our situation as it relates to policy, i.e. laws, politics, and all the things that govern our everyday life that we don't even pay attention to. All the things that govern our life that we don't even pay attention to. Most of us, this is what we do. Most of us, we get up, we got these bills now. We got to worry about this house. We got to worry about this apartment. We got to worry about these children. We got to worry about this food, clothing, shelter. So we get up, we go on about our day, and we make it happen to maintain those things. But while we're doing that, there's a group of people that are in the background doing something else so we can maintain that mediocre lifestyle or below poverty lifestyle. And they are building walls with laws by the way of politics that you couldn't even climb over if you wanted to, because you can't even see them. It's time to wake up and open your eyes so you can see them walls and find out it's not even a wall at all. This is what we're talking about tonight. I'm trying to wait till my brother get in the chat real quick, because I want these brothers to express themselves, and then I'm coming on the back end with how I see things. And I'm a little more I'm different. I see things alike, but different. You know, I'm one of them Moors back in the day. I probably would have been in the street burning up a car. I gotta get to you. I'm one of them Moors that was probably been throwing rocks at somebody. I'm just saying, that just would have been me. Today, I know a little bit more than I knew back in the day. So now I know that is crazy. That is crazy, that is foolish, but I understand the frustration. But let me say this real quick. Here in Baltimore, Maryland, if you're in Baltimore, Maryland, listen, I'm not trying to get you put on affairs. I can't tell you that more. I can't tell you that enough. What I'm trying to get you to do is unite with me If you're in Baltimore, Maryland, I'm telling you, stop past the temple, 3802 Clifton Avenue. We're going to make something happen. But before I go into the plan that's on the ground here in Baltimore, I want the brothers to come in and let you know how this Operation Proclamation works. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to regurgitate it. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to twist it. I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to make it as simple as possible. For those that might not get it from Brother Sharif, I'm going to try to, you might can get it from me. Those who can't get it from me, you might get it from Ali Bey. Those who can't get it from Ali Bey, you might get it from Grimmy O'Neill. Those who can't get it from him, you might get it from Lasana Tunica Ill. But what we going to do, we're going to make sure that you get it. So I want y'all hold tight. Pay attention, because this is some real serious business that we could change our situation overnight. Overnight we can. And you can believe in this. If you don't believe nothing else the Moors say, I don't care if you don't believe that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is not a prophet. I don't care if you don't believe in the MST of A. But I'm going to tell you one thing that you best to believe in. The process that we're about to explain tonight. If you don't believe in it, fine. Go back to burning cars and don't change no laws, no policy. Fine, if that's what you want to do. Go ahead, scream black power all day, and the laws are still the same. To bust a gun and put your brains on the streets, put your child brains on the streets, and then bust up another car, burn up another building, raid another store for tennis shoes and weave and drinks. And the laws still remain the same. With that, let me bring my brother Sharif Aniel Bey in the building and let him kick off this Operation Proclamation presentation, or for lack of a better term, for a discussion. Brother Sharif, let the people know who you are, brother. Let's kick it off, brother. Let's go.
Islam, brother. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Islam, I want to first rise and give praise to Allah. I want to give honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the last prophet in these days and times, the man who made what we're going to talk about today possible and accessible to our people and to us. I want to give honors to the Moorish side and Civil of America, all past and present leadership of the Moorish side and Civil of America. I want to give honors to my brothers and comrades and Ali's men. I want to give honors to all those who really labor to change the condition of our people, regardless of organization, regardless of movement. I want to give honors to Moorish World. I want to give honors to the listeners and the watchers, and I want to give special honors to the host and creator of Moorish World TV, Brother Tarka Bey, aka Off the Turnbuckle Bey.
Islam, boy. Islam, boy. What I want you to kick it off, brother. I want you to give us the framework, because one of the sayings that you always say, that you have said in the past, and I love that saying, we have to be the power. Don't fight the power, be the power.
That's a fact.
And I've heard you say it so many times. So, brother, explain what you mean by that.
Yes, sir. I mean, that's our hashtag, by the way. That's the Operation Proclamation hashtag, is be the power. Okay. We all know, and shout out to Public Enemy, shout out to PE for Fight the Power. We like that. But it's far better, rather than begging or screaming or yelling for justice and mercy from someone who has no justice or mercy in their heart for you. It's far better to ask, or to have your brother on the other side of the table, or your sister on the other side of the table, to dispense with justice and mercy. Because if it's your brother or sister on the other side of the table, you don't have to ask for it. You don't have to ask for it. If it's your brother or sister on the other side of the table, it might as well be you. As a matter of fact, from the familial standpoint, it is you. So rather than fight the power, be the power. In other words, participate. I'm sure many of you saw the video recently that went viral of Killer Mike, at some conference. I believe it was a Black Power conference down in the South. And he sounded like Operation Proclamation to me. He's saying, I'm down for revolution. I understand it. I respect. He says, but how many of y'all grow your own food? How many of you have lawyers, attorneys, politicians, in your family? You know what I'm saying? In your organization. So, well, if you ain't got these things, you got no wins. And for you to be talking all that wild, crazy revolution, you know, turning over cars and burning buildings and all this other wild stuff in the name of you saying fighting for your freedom, what you're doing is you're sending these children who have no fear in their hearts to die. That's what you're doing, and ain't nothing gonna happen. So you're throwing fearless soldiers, you know, into the fray with no real planning, no real organization, no real way to cause any real change, just making a lot of noise. And you won't go yourself. You do the block of wood demonstration and point and say, you know, do your thing or whatever. And these young bulls that respect you, that want to do something and they're frustrated, but they have a lot of energy and no fear, they jump out there and do it and they get killed. You see what I'm saying? And nothing comes of it. So we want to be the power, and that's what Operation Proclamation is. Among other things, it very simply is, to the best of our ability, it is the continuation of Prophet Noble Drew Ali's civic plan. And we can get right into it, brother, man. Peace.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this. I want to say this real quick, and I don't want to give nobody. Matter of fact, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'll talk to y'all about that later. Nevertheless, because I just seen something on a feed that it is crazy, man. We're sitting here talking about being the power, and we have somebody else, as we're talking about being the power, speaking against what we're saying. And this is the crazy thing about social media. We have people that can say and be whoever they want to be, whether they pat the concrete, shake hands, hug babies, or what. They can just turn on a camera and just say whatever they want and not help change the condition of our people. But we want y'all to pay attention to this process of Operation Proclamation. And we'll let you be the judge. We'll let you be the judge, because it's very basic and simple. Now, with that being said, let me bring my brother Mati McCoy into the chat. What's up, my brother? Islam.
Islam, brothers. All is well.
Let the people know who you are, brother, and maybe lay something down for us concerning Operation Proclamation as we go into this presentation.
Well, Islam, I say Islam again. I want to first of all, as always, rise, giving all praises to Allah, the great God of the universe. Honors to his holy and divine prophet, the most noble thought in flesh, Drew Ali. Honors to the forerunner of our prophet, brother Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to all the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, all Moors in America, all those who are descendants of Moors in America. That's everybody who's Asiatic, whether you like it or not. And all those to whom honors are due. Islam. Now, I would say in regards to Operation Proclamation, you know, it's simple. You know, we don't want to, you know, be at the dinner table while everybody else is eating and not get our bellies full. You know, we don't want to just come to the table, sit and watch everybody else eat and say, man, it's a shame I ain't got no food on the table. You know, Operation Proclamation teaches you how to eat. It teaches you how to go out there and plan your meal. You know, and not just to get the scraps, but to plan your own meal, you know, so you can get a good gourmet meal, you know, because we tired of eating trash, you know. So, you know, and I heard what you were just saying about people speaking against what we're teaching. You know, of course, you know, people have to start to vet these characters who are telling them not to vote, who are telling them not to participate in the political process. Because if you really look at it, that's the one thing we haven't even tried, you know. But if you look at the character of these people, many of them have criminal records. You know, many of them can't participate in the political process, so they'll downplay it and tell you not to participate in the political process. So if you're dumb enough to listen to these people, and I guess we're getting what we deserve, listen. We can't just get mad, you know, throw rocks, you know, make live feed videos on the internet showing, you know, us out there wilding out, breaking into stores, stealing stuff, you know, turning into animals because people are treating us like animals. No, we got to go down there and change the people that are treating us like animals. We got to change the cast of characters. And there's a process to do that. And that process can happen overnight. Now, mind you, everybody that looks like you is not for you. And, you have to consider that, because I saw a brother telling other brothers and sisters, don't vote for this man because he's a devil, he's a cracker, he's this, he's that, he's the other. Listen, man, we got to get beyond that. We got to learn to work with people who we can get to promote our interests. You understand? You don't have to look like me as long as you're pushing my program, because we push the Europeans' programs all the time. We don't look nothing like them. So consider that. I mean, I want people to start thinking logically, because if you don't start using logic, if you don't start using reasoning, if you don't start using understanding, you're just going to be out there, crying and wallowing, oh, when is this going to stop? Oh, woe is me. Oh, what can we do? Oh, we can't do nothing. And then when brothers get to the point where they have feel like they have no other solution, they start wilding out. Oh, that's not the answer. Oh my God, that's terrible what they're doing, and it's making us all look bad. Okay, well, what do they do? What do they do? You got to participate in the process. That's what Operation Proclamation is about. It's about organizing the people. You have to get organized. Take that anger and turn it into something real, turn it into power. And use that power to change things. I mean, again, man, we've talked about this. We talked about this on this show. We talked about this on Ali's Mirror radio. Look, the sheriff, the judge, the district attorney, the police chief, all of those are elected positions. If you're not participating in the process, if you're not, if you're talking about the vote don't count and the vote don't mean nothing, and the hell with the politics, then you have no real say in what the sheriff and what the interests of the district attorney and what the interests of the judges and the police chief are. They don't have to. They don't have to even consider you, because you have no political power. You have no power to take their job away from them. You have to exercise your power to take their livelihood. You can't just hold your money back. I believe in boycotting. I do believe in boycotting, but trust me, eventually you go into the store. When your cupboard get empty, you go into the store, because you don't know how to grow nothing. You ain't even got a garden. So you go into the store, you go into that grocery store, you're gonna go buy, you're gonna go spend your money, you're gonna stop by the phone shop on the way, get you a new SIM card and a new battery. You're gonna do these things. So we can stop with all the front. We don't own nothing, we don't grow nothing, we are not building nothing. So we have to start somewhere. And in order to do that, you have to consider the fact that we don't own nothing, with the fact that they use redlining against us. They keep us from being able to get the loans to buy the buildings in order to be able to build something. So in order to change that, we got to strike at the politicians so that they can change the laws. Look how quick they put that law in effect in Charlotte. Think about that. They just passed a law in Charlotte, North Carolina, that says that they're going to make it illegal for the police to make the body cam footage public. Whose interest is that in? It's not in your interest, but it's in somebody's interest, to get that kind of legislation passed. And see, they passed that real quick. You know why? Because them people that vote got on the phone with them, say, hey, man, you need to pass a law. That fraternal order of police is big, man. Trust me, they vote. They make a difference. They know the power of the vote. You don't know the power of the vote. The European know the power of your vote. That's why he sent them red shirts and them white shirts and them Ku Klux Klan after your vote, to put fear in you, to strike at the heart of you, so you will be afraid to go to them polls. That's why he puts those felonies on you at a young age, so you won't have the right to go to the polls. So for those of you that have the right, don't have no felonies, and just won't go vote, you are derelict on your civic duty. And you don't know, and the majority of you who do go to the polls, you just go in there, you're just throwing your vote in the trash. You're not organizing. Operation Proclamation is an organizational tool. You have to organize your vote and turn it into a block vote. Brother Sharif, can you expand on the margin in which elections are normally won?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It's long. First of all, brother, yeah, you jumped in, you took it there. And I'll give a brief on that because we really want, we got a lot of listeners and we got a lot of very significant people watching this particular show. So we want to make sure that we're extremely comprehensive and we cover everything. But to answer your question, man, listen. Oh, wow. Where do I even start? I mean, here in Syracuse, New York, we've got, for instance, one of the most lucrative districts in the county, or in this, in the city. I'm sorry, in the city is, I mean, you're talking close to 6,000, and this is in the hood. The vast majority of the people there are our people. You got close to 6,000 registered voters, but the whole district is carried by about 700 voters, the vast majority of them European, in a particular part of that section. Now, the only reason and now understand what that means, they control or their 700 votes control what goes on in that district because they're the only ones that participate. Nobody else participates. But what are they participating in? They're participating in who controls what goes on in that district. That's money, resources, infrastructure, etc. So none of our people can complain, which they do. Oh, we're not getting any money in the hood. Oh, this isn't happening. The hood is this, the hood is that, da, 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 da. You're not taking care of it, government. The government says, oh, yes, we did take care of it. Yes, we did. If it didn't go to you, it's because you didn't participate. You did not seek a return on your investment. You are not participating. And if anything, Prophet Noble Drew Ali taught us to do, he said, take your place in the affairs of men. Stop living like a slave. What we mean by living like a slave is depending upon someone else to do what we're supposed to do as upright men and women. And that's not just in the home, but that's in the community, and that's amongst our own people. So, I mean, so there you go. There's the margin right there. There's the margin. I mean, this is skipping way ahead, but come on, you pick any shot caller in any hood in the United States, and you tell two shot callers, two of them, I don't care if you're a dope boy, whatever, and you tell them to pull out their cell phone, look through their contacts, and if they can pull at least 100 people out of their contacts that they can influence and say, you know what, vote the way I say vote because it's me. If they got that kind of influence, if you got two of those guys that can do that, you control 200 votes, and votes spend like money. This is what the European knows. This is what the powers that be know. If you control 200 votes, man, listen, man. If you got 10 of those people, you control a district. It's just that simple, because generally across the country in urban centers, the win-loss or the margin of win and loss in an election is anywhere from 500 to 1,500 votes. You get 10 people like that control 100 votes apiece out of their cell phone, and you control a district. It's just that simple, people. You're playing the wrong. We're playing the wrong.
So basically, if you got 500 votes or more, you are what they call the swing vote, right?
Brother, and that's when, brother, we could do that in 5 minutes in any. Man, this is what I was talking about at the end of April 10th, when the chaos ensued. Was right. This right here? We say, we're gonna remove all the excuses. We can do this in 10 minutes. We can literally come to you on our own dime and organize 10 people, and within 10 minutes, control a significant amount of Harlem. Control a significant portion of Harlem politically.
That's right.
We can do it in 10 minutes.
Hey, brother. This has become one of my favorite topics. The reason why, because I used to be a hothead. I used to be a hothead. As I said before you came on, Brother Sharif, I would have been one that would have thrown the rocks and flipping and burning the cars years ago. But this makes so much sense. I want to say this before I bring my brother Grimmy All-Il in. Right now, I'm on a hunt. I'm on a lookout for a brother named Ronald Mumin Owens Bay. I'm on a hunt and I'm on a lookout for this brother. He's in Baltimore somewhere. He's ran for the mayor quite a few times. I've done my research, but I haven't found enough to find where he's at. The reason why I want to find this brother is because I plan to talk to this brother, and we are going to put the votes behind this brother to put him in office. Now, how do we do that? Brother, today I talked to brother PFK Boom. If anybody familiar with him, that is the brother that was talking to Pastor Jamal Bryant in that viral video when Pastor Jamal Bryant of Baltimore came in the hood. I spoke to him today.
Yes, sir.
And we had a beautiful conversation. And the conversation was centered around Operation Proclamation. Listen, people, we talked today about getting the gang members, getting the everyday people, getting the Moorish community all around one vote. Now, in my district, in District 8, the guy that ran for the city council, if I'm not mistaken, it's his cousin. Go figure this one out. Where I live at, his cousin, Ronald Neverdome, ran. Imagine if all the Moors in Baltimore, which is one of the most, it's a big Moorish community in Baltimore. Imagine if all of us packed the street and explained to people, listen, homie, big homie, when you buy a blunt, you pay taxes.
Right.
If you want to smoke blunts, that's your business.
Right.
But you pay taxes. You paid into a system.
Yes, sir.
Hey, yo, shorty, you drink Henny. You paid taxes. You paid into a system. Right. We need to get that money back. And the only way, if we get that, only way we're going to get that money back is to put A or B in office. A and B is in my cell phone. Right. Now we need you to go into your cell phone and get everybody that lives in this district to meet us at the poll on whichever day that the election happens. And we need everybody to vote for this one. In my district, it only took 1,200 votes for the person to get in the district seat. You mean we can't get 1,500?
That's right, brother.
They sell more pills of dope in Baltimore daily. If I don't want to get too worked up, that means if they selling 15 to 2,500 pills of dope, they done pass 1,500 people. And you mean tell me we can't get 1,500 people to line up at the poll to put my friend, my brother, my sister, my cousin, my homeboy in office? Huh? But we gonna burn up a car? See, let me say this before I come to you, Grimmy on L. See, once my friend, my homeboy, my sister, my brother, my cousin in office, we don't have to fight the police. We determine how the police carry it. See, after my friend, my brother, my cousin, my sister's in office, we don't have to fight anybody. We don't have to file paperwork. We receive the paperwork. And see, we do it in one district, and then another district, and then another. We're going to go on further. But let my brother Grimmy Arleo come and touch on the subject before I lose my voice, because this is a passionate subject of mine, and I know it works because it worked in the 20s when they was hanging us from trees, and we just got out of slavery, and the Prophet Noble Drew Ali did it. And you telling me in this age of technology, this electrified age, we can't do it? Come on, man. Let's stop playing. Grimmy Arleo, come on in the chat, brother, before I lose my voice.
Islam more, all praise be to Allah. You know, brother Mahdi and brother Sharif, you know, basically got this demonstration covered. But you know, I wanted to say that, you know, when everything was going down in Ferguson, a few I think it was a few leaders, particularly brother Al Sharpton, you know, pointed out in Ferguson a particular statistic, and you all brothers know what I'm talking about. You know, here we have a all Asiatic. I'm not sure if that's the city or the county or borough or whatever they classify it as. But you know, brother L. Sharpton was making a particular point. I can't remember the stats. Brother Sharif probably know the stats. But I think that of a majority Asiatic town, only 20% of that town was registered to vote. But all of the Europeans who were domiciled in that particular area were registered to vote. So this speaks to what brother Sharif and brother Mahdi was talking about. So basically what the Europeans did in this majority Asiatic jurisdiction was they were able to put in the people who represented their interest. So basically, what you got was a racist police protection oriented district attorney, and a majority European American city council, and other police officials, like what Brother Mahdi McCoy L was saying. They put those, even in some provinces where you don't vote for the police chief, you vote for the mayor and the councilman who were actually appointed chief when that municipality's constitution doesn't have any elected chief. They appoint the chief. So all of these things are barren. So basically, what you have was an Asiatic town of Ferguson who, and I know some people are going to get mad in this regard, but I'm going to say this as nice as I can, but they participated. You know, Mike Brown was just one of the effects, but those people were constantly in Ferguson being persecuted by police. They turned them into a poverty cash crop because they was able to write brothers tickets. They was able to put people in jail for simple infractions, and they created great municipal wealth by victimizing the Asiatic population because they were not registered to vote and they didn't participate. And I know a lot of our Moorish American brothers and sisters basically read the Moorish literature when Prophet Noble Drew Ali is talking about in a divine warning by the prophet for the nations. They keep talking about this great sin, the great sin, the great sin that the prophet keeps talking about. Well, you know, nationality, or the fact that they lacked the nationality, was part of the great sin. But really, when you read the spirit of the letter, was what Prophet Noble Drew Ali was talking about. Noble Drew Ali was talking about the inactivity of the Asiatics after the Reconstruction period in participating, you know. And when I watch some of these old 1930 movies and 1920 movies, The Color Purple, you know, our people worked for the European, got their coins. They wanted to keep their head. I mean, it's the same thing going on today. People come to work, they want to be below the radar. They want to pay their bills. They want to be left alone. And in the weekend, they want to unwind. So back in the 20s and 30s, they didn't have clubs, but what they had is juke joints, like you see on The Color Purple, you know, with Miss Celie and all of them was hanging out. This is what the prophet was saying was the great sin, is that people did not want to take their place in the affairs of men. So it's not just nationality, it was their inactivity before the government. And that's why Prophet Noble Drew Ali called the vote sacred, or casting your sacred ballot. Islam.
Yes, sir. Islam, brother. You're so on point with that, brother. Now, one thing that we have to remember, though, voting frivolously is as bad as not voting. If you're just going and giving your vote away, if you're just going and giving your vote away, you might as well be taking a shot to the trash can. You know how you do the little paper shot to the trash can and see if you can get it in? You might as well be doing that if you're not organizing your vote. Right now, what I say about Asiatics going to the polls right now, you're just practicing on how you're supposed to vote, because you're not blocked. You're not doing it properly. So I mean, because you have to look at successful voters. I mean, let's take, for example, the Tea Party. The Tea Party came out of nowhere, didn't they? At least that's what you think. The Tea Party just popped up, and all of a sudden they were the power in Washington. But how did that happen? It's because they're not really Republicans. They're a conservative group that came out of the Libertarian Party. They couldn't get any traction in the Libertarian Party, and they realized that. So what they did was they went and took over the Republican Party by forming a block of voters within the Republican Party. So now they control the interests of the Republicans. The Republicans kiss their behinds. You know, and in local politics, they're the strongest voting bloc out there, or one of them. You know, you also have the Jews. Jews have traditionally been the Jews understand, unlike us, they understand, unlike us, that you have a specific body of politics, you know, and that we have a common body of politics. We too busy worrying about, well, I ain't voting with the Muslims, I ain't voting with them Christians. Man, I ain't voting with them Islamic people. Man, I ain't voting with them. He's worried about the stupid stuff. You know, the things that matter only to you personally. They don't matter to your body of politics, because guess what? The Muslims live beside the Christians in the hood. The Christians live beside the Hebrew Israelites in the hood. We all got the same body of politics. You know what? They ain't asking you what your religion is when they rolling up on you and they stopping and frisking you and then they shooting you down. They ain't asking what your religion is. They're not asking you, are you a Moorish American? They ain't asking for your nationality card, because Moors go through the same things that you go through. See, nationality won't save you. See, that's another big factor. But nationality will save you in the respect that it unites and galvanizes you to a specific agenda. See, this is what Prophet Drew Ali used nationality for. He used nationality as an organizational tool, not only as a historical tool, which it was, but as an organizational tool, because nationality determines your political status as well as your where you're from. So Prophet Drew Ali used that wisely, and to the point where you got governors coming to his birthday party, gubernatorial candidates coming to his birthday party. He getting invited to the governor's inauguration. You know, you got all these politicians swarming around the prophet. And guess what they're doing? Because the prophet didn't just vote and put them in office, he had an agenda. You have to have an agenda. You know, see, this is one of our biggest problems. You know, the easiest way to quell one of those insurrections out in the street, ask the people what they want. None of them got an answer. None of them got an answer. They can tell you what they're mad about, but they cannot tell you what they want. We want y'all to stop killing us. That's all they're going to say. You got to want more than that. Come on, man. You got to want more than that. But I'm going to yield the floor. I'm going to yield the floor.
I see my brother just stepped in the chat. Who coughing like that? Let's calm it down. No, I'm playing. I see my brother just stepped in the chat. Hold on 1 second. My brother, Lasana Tunica Ill. My brother, please come and bless the people with something as it relates to Operation Proclamation. As my brother Sharif said, rubber to the road. And I add to that, rubber to the road, mortar to the brick. Brother, introduce yourself and just come on into the chat. I know you're familiar with the subject. You actually sent me tons of information on the subject. And between you and brother Sharif, that it fired me up. And I've been walking through Baltimore with that. Not only Baltimore, Maryland, period, all the way into Annapolis in the state capital. I've been giving that up. So I know that if people are paying attention, they'll be able to duplicate this at home. And if they can't, as Brother Sharif said, we will come there with our own dime and help set it up. So, brother, come on into the chat, talk to the people, my brother. Peace.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah, I rise first, giving all praise due to Allah. I give high honors to his holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Give honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honor to the grand staff, the supreme staff, local temples, members, brethren and sisters in all things pertaining to Islam. I don't know what's been said thus far more as it relates to Operation Proclamation. So I don't want to be repetitive, depending upon what the brothers have already touched upon.
Well, more for the most part, we really just starting off. So anything that you say is going to relate, because we haven't gotten too deep yet, you know. But if maybe Brother Sharif can brief you, but we haven't gotten too deep yet. We just been scratching the surface, and we about to go in.
You know what would be good, if I could say this? If Brother Tunica L could just read, if he has it. I don't know if you have it available, but if you could just read some of the aims, the objectives of Operation Proclamation. You know, it just run down what it is so that people know exactly what it is, what the goals are, how you plan on achieving the goals, you know, so forth.
Yeah.
Indeed. Is that visible?
Yes, sir. I can see it, my brother.
You can see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Praise Allah. So let's scroll to this part. Right This is from a document 2012 from within Ali's men, prepared by Brother Sharif and I Bey, in cahoots with some of the other brethren in Ali's men. So I'm gonna scroll down to get right in it, where it's red right there, Operation Proclamation. Everyone can see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Operation Proclamation is an aggressive, grassroots, mobilizing action plan to, quite simply, obey Act 6. Now, Act 6 that's being referred to is Act 6 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws, where it says, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality. So that was the proclamation part of Operation Proclamation, right? It first began as a mobilizing force from within the Moorish Science Temple of America and as a grassroots mobilizing action plan to increase the membership of the Moorish Science Temple of America by inviting our people to proclaim their nationality as Moorish Americans. But that's the center core of Operation Proclamation. But then it reverberates outward from that core to the larger community of all our people. Islam?
Islam, I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is it necessary, because I'm sure this is going to be an issue, is it necessary for individuals to proclaim nationality as Moorish Americans in order to implement this, or is that not a necessity?
No, sir. That is not a necessity to enact the principles that's embedded within Operation Proclamation. One thing about it, what the Prophet demonstrated is being demonstrated all day, every day by other nationalities within America. It's not some secret magic potion. It's a methodology of civics that all responsible nationalities in the USA are demonstrating by controlling the politics of their neighborhoods and their communities.
Exactly.
So we're not talking about anything super scientifical, mystical, or magical. These are just simply a methodology to mobilize citizens within a particular locale so that they can have a seat at the table as it relates to the politics that govern their communities.
Islam, this brother Sharif and I obey. Can I jump in on that?
Yes,
jump
sir.
in there. All right, praise the Lord. The brother's correct. You know, this is a civic mobilizing and engagement initiative for all of our people. It just happens to be run and managed by members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. But it is for all of our people. And like the brother said, it's a series of principles to be practiced. And these principles are practiced by every other national group on American soil within American society. And that's what enables them to directly have the ability to change or modify the conditions of society to benefit them. We are late to the table. You know, Brother Talker Bay, is it okay if
Yes, sir.
Because this is important right here. Our people have learned to live outside of government and without government for so long, we believe that's the normal when it's abnormal. We treat government like a can of Raid and ourselves as the roaches. And this is very, 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 very bad, because what it does, it leaves us outside of the protection of the law. That's what it does. So remember this, if nothing else, people, politics trumps the law. Government is management. Politics is the public relation campaign that decides who manages the public's money, meaning your money, meaning the money that you put into the system, buying all the blunts and buying all the Henny. You paid into it. You want a return on your investment. You have invested in the society that you live. So no matter how radical or separatist you think you are, you have bought in. This is yours. Get yours out of it. Get what you put in out of it. and that means participate. So you got to make this thing personal because it is personal. So let's get right to it. There's a big part. Hold on, let me turn my camera on. There's a big part of history. Our history. You have people talking about Black history, you know, and everything, right? Here's a big part of history that you don't know, that nobody talks to you about. Please go get this book by Professor Douglas Egerton. The book is called The Wars of Reconstruction. Please get the book. It'll tell you some things about your history in America that nobody else tells you. Here's another book to get, people. I put this in the chat, by the way. Get this book by Mr. Ortiz. This book is called, Paul Ortiz's book is called Emancipation Betrayed. Get this book as well. This is history, or what you all may call Black history, that you don't know about. That's what we're about to talk about here. This whole big thing about participating politically is such a huge, important part of our history in America that nobody wants to talk about it. This also ties into the reason why you hear about all these other great leaders of our people in America, but you don't hear nothing about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. This is the reason why. So let's go right back into the history, people. And I'm going to be brief. I'm going to be brief on it. 1865, Emancipation Proclamation signed, right? And then the 13th Amendment follows, right? That abolishes slavery or involuntary servitude, okay? What happened during that time period? This was at the end of the Civil War. One of the other things that happened during that time period is that the southern states that were in rebellion under the name the Confederacy, these states, or the individuals in these states, these Europeans that participated, were penalized in a number of different ways. One of the conditions for them to rejoin the Union was the ratification. They were forced to ratify the 14th and the 15th Amendments. Okay, that's one. Now, let me touch on something really quick. The 14th Amendment did not and does not confer citizenship to our people. It doesn't. What the 14th Amendment did is that it forced or compelled the Southern Europeans to recognize equal citizenship status of our people. That's what it did. It did not convey or confer citizenship. There's no such thing as a 14th Amendment citizen. I know that's going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but there's no such thing. That whole phrase 14th Amendment citizen came from the European Confederates who were upset about it, and so that's how they refer to you.
That's right.
Because that's a 14th Amendment citizen. All right? So let's get that straight. Now, one of the punishments for the people who participated in the rebellion that were part of the Confederacy was a temporary suspension of their voting rights. Now, here we get to the good stuff. From 1865 to 1870, our people, guess what they did? Voted by the thousands. Our people ran for office and won and held office by the scores, to the point that in 1870, our people ran over 60% of the southern state legislatures. That is the fact. Our people did. Now, what happened? Now, understand what that did. See, controlling politics and controlling government means you manage the public money in a way that does what? Benefits you. So, everybody hears about towns like Rosewood, Wilmington, North Carolina, South Carolina, Black Wall Street. And there were, trust me, there were dozens more, right? And there were what people would call black townships or black cities. Okay, fine. What they don't understand was that the control of politics and the control of government in the South made these possible. That's what you don't understand. It was the control of politics and the control of the public money management via government that made these cities and towns possible. What did you have in these cities and towns? People, judges, politicians, lawyers, doctors, policemen that looked like you. They were your brother and your sister. Fast forward 7 years, 1877, the then president, who was a former Confederate, right, makes a compromise with the European political leaders in the South. That compromise basically is called the Compromise of 1877. Look it up. But that compromise was, listen, we'll stop causing the trouble. We'll stop bucking the system. We know we lost. We'll stop bucking the system if you pull the federal troops out of our states. Right. Because it was those federal troops. We all know what that's like. Because much later, when they did forced integration, remember our young sister was walked by federal troops escorted into Little Rock High School. We know what that's all about. So the then president pulled the troops and turned his back on our people. This was the rise of the KKK, the White League, and the Red Shirts, as my brother Mahdi McCoy-Ill mentioned. They were the military arm of the Democratic Party to protect the white vote. The sole purpose, remember this, people, the sole and primary purpose of the KKK's emergence was to destroy our political power in the South and to prevent it from ever rising again. That's what it was. We all talk about how, how the KKK kills our people, and now here it is generations later, we do the KKK's job for them. That's an apt example. Why? Because politically, we're doing the same thing.
Yes, sir.
Politically, we're doing the same thing. Back then, it was their job to make sure you didn't vote. And they did it through guerrilla warfare and out-and-out terrorism. And the whole purpose was to keep you from participating in the political process, which is the sovereign power. Sovereign power is exercised through the political process. The most radical and revolutionary thing you can do is pull that ballot in an organized fashion. That's the fact. Let me continue. So the Compromise of 1877 pulled the federal protection away from our people in the South. Then you have what the states enacting laws in contradiction to the 14th Amendment that attack, and 15th Amendments that attack your ability and our forefathers' ability to participate. The poll tax, literacy tests, and all this other stuff. And when that didn't happen fast enough, it was out and out terrorism with the White League, the Red Shirts, and the KKK. That's what happened. When they broke our political power, then we had no political protection, no protection under the law. Then they out and out just killed you. When you hear about the race riots, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood, Wilmington, North Carolina, those were not race riots. That's what they call them in history. Those were literal military, armed, organized takeovers of American cities run by our people. And the federal government turned its back. Mm-hmm. That's what they were. And when I did the lecture, or when I did the debate April 10th, I showed a list of no less than 15 of these cities. 15 of them that were taken over. That's the fact. That's the part of history they don't want to tell you, that nobody wants you to know. The whole image, and then during that same era of time, the whole image of our people, especially the Asiatic male, the so-called black male, being lazy, irresponsible, incapable, subhuman, all of that was the result of a media campaign. Sound familiar? Sound familiar? It was a media campaign. What was it called? 1921, the film The Birth of a Nation. That was the truth.
Come on with it, brother.
That's the truth. I'm going to stop right there and let some other brothers.
No, brother. Keep going.
Keep going?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Now, mind you, matter of fact, somebody demonstrate for give me about 15 seconds. I'm going to pull up a couple slides. Somebody go ahead.
All right, well, I'll just say Islam. Now, one of the things that Brother Tunic Ill pointed out that a lot of times we get lost in is the fact that the voting that we're talking about taking over our neighborhoods, man. We're not talking about taking over somebody else's neighborhoods. Right now, somebody else is running our communities. They're determining who comes in our communities, who they send in, in other communities, in Jewish communities, they ask the police, what are you doing here? The police that come to their communities, they know, they have to authorize them to come into their community. Our communities. We don't even have communities, man. We got neighborhoods. In other words, we got neighbors and we all live in the same hood. We got neighborhoods. We don't have communities. We don't work together. A lot of us don't even know the person who lived next door to us. Think about that. When we was growing up, our children played together. Now, how do we carry it? We got to do better. We have to do better. Go ahead, Brother Tunic. I see you unmuted your mic, brother.
Yes, sir. the brother's developing a nice timeline chronology from 1865 slavery up until the prophet's time, and he's about at 1920s now, And one thing we'll see that what he described when the Compromise of 1877 went down, and all of the political power of our people was stripped, and we were the object of straight terrorism. It wasn't until the prophet backed and the Moorish Americans backed Oscar de Priest, where he was the first brother to be elected since like the early part of the 20th century, as far as being elected to federal office.
Praise the Lord. That's right.
So the prophet is part of a continuum.
Yes, sir.
He didn't just pop up in isolation, but what he pulled back together was that which was lost in a real way. Go ahead, Moore. And I'm actually all my people are actually from Coshada, Louisiana.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Islam. So yeah, I'm back on everybody. If everybody can see the screen, can you see it?
Yes, sir.
All right. The on the left of the slide, right? You see a headline from the New York Herald, 1898. It says, "Whites kill Negroes and seize city of Wilmington. By revolutionary methods, white citizens of North Carolina overturn existing city government and at once establish their own." That was a takeover city, people.
Yes, sir.
That was not a race riot. They took over a city run by you. If you look, this is a short list, people. I think I got 15 of them up here. A short list of cities run by you at that time period, taken over by Europeans in organized insurrection. Lawrence, South Carolina, Utah, Alabama, Meridian, Mississippi, Colfax, Louisiana, Vicksburg, Mississippi, Coshada, Louisiana, Liberty Place, Louisiana, Hamburg, South Carolina, Phoenix, South Carolina, Wilmington, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, people.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Springfield, Illinois, St. Louis, Missouri, Black Wall Street, Tulsa, and Rosewood, Florida in 1923. Why is that significant at that late date? Because exactly 5 years later, the prophet did it unmolested.
That's right.
This was during a time when they would stretch, when they would hang you up, cut your genitals off, burn you, and invite the European church out to watch for a picnic.
That's right.
Because you decided to vote. And they would hang a sign on you saying this Negro voted. So you can say what you want about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He did it. And guess what? Not one Moorish American was lynched. Figure that out. And he did it 5 years after Rosewood went down. You see what I'm saying? This is big, people.
In Chicago.
This is big, and it's on the ground. This is real. You see what I'm saying? What Prophet Noble Drew Ali did is a matter of recorded history. And like Brother Tunica Ill said, the Moors got Oscar de Priest in Congress in 1928. The Moors did that. That's just the fact. That's historic. And he was the first of our people in Congress, elected into Congress since the Reconstruction era that I just mentioned.
And it was that same political lineage established by the prophet that later manifested itself in President Barack Obama. Go trace his lineage and who his teachers were in Chicago politically. And they go back to the prophet and the Moorish Science Temple of America.
You know, a key point in that chart that you have there, Brother Sharif, is that these acts of terror was also taking place in the Midwest. So when people say, well, the prophet wasn't in the South, it was easy to vote in the Midwest. No, look, Springfield, Illinois is on that chart. Yes, St. Louis, Missouri is on that chart. So it was happening in the Midwest as well. And, it was even happening in New York and in Boston. They were having riots there. They sent Asiatic children to school in Boston as late as the 1970s.
Yes, sir.
And they terrorized. So, it's kind of stuff was still going on. It was going on in the Midwest as well. So,
yes, sir.
Wanted to point that out.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Let's keep going. So, hold on. Let me get rid of the screen sharing. Actually, let me not get rid of the screen sharing. Let me show you all this one. Hold on. Let me show you all this one. Can you all see that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We're taking it back. We're going right back to 1870. Those are pictures of the senators and representatives of the 42nd, 41st, and 42nd Congress of the United States.
Hmm.
You don't see a European in the picture. Not one. If you go to the far right of the slide, right, it shows pictures of the elected officials for the state of Louisiana. You don't see one European.
That's right, Mo.
That's crazy. But this is something that they don't, I'm telling you, you know, that people don't want you to know. They don't want you to know this.
More, can you please repeat that one more time, brother? Those in the audience, please share this and please pay attention to this, because the key thing he said is that you don't see one European. Come on, brother.
That's right. You don't see one European. And this was in 1870, 1868. That's when this was. You don't see one European. Think about that. Now, one thing about the movie, those of you that actually saw the movie Birth of a Nation, one thing about that movie that told the truth, when you European senators and other bigwigs, European bigwigs that cried watching that movie and said it's so true and oh my God, right? We took the emotional side of it, you know, because how they portrayed us as shiftless and lazy and chasing after European women and all this other stuff. The part that they were talking about it being true was this slide right here. The fact, see, in the movie, it showed the KKK as the bringers of justice and, you know, riding, you know, into the sunset, you know, out of the sunset to save civilization from the savage Asiatics, right? The fact of the matter is that in that movie, it showed that our people ran the legislatures. That is the fact. The movie did tell the truth in that respect. That's the fact. But they don't want you to see this because it's not an issue so much of, see, we think that as tragic and as horrible as it is about one of our people getting shot by a police officer or them hunting our people, that's tragic. That's bad. But man, that's so low level in terms of what we believe racism to be. That's so low level. When you can keep an entire people outside of participating in their own government that they pay into, that's called racism, people. See, it's not enough. See, let me explain something. I'm gonna put y'all onto something. Don't ever let anybody tell you when they talk about the whole, oh well, Black Lives Matter, you know, the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Well, do Black Lives Matter only when European cops kill you? Do Black Lives Matter when you guys kill each other? I want you all to be much more intelligent than that. I want you all to understand the situation. Here we go. Listen close. The issue is not whether we kill ourselves or European cops kill us. That's not the issue. Okay? The issue is this, people. The cop is doing his job. Believe it or not, take your emotions out of it. His job is governed by laws and policy. The way the laws and the policies are written protect him in hunting you and killing you. Let me repeat that again. The way the laws are written, it protects him in doing so.
True.
So you're fighting it. If you're not fighting to change policy, you are engaged in organized despair. You will never get anywhere. Now you understand why they don't want you voting the way you should vote. Because that is how you directly change the matrix. That's how it's done. We're fighting the wrong fight. Understand? So when people run that on you about, oh, you all kill each other more than cops kill you, you say, listen, now one of our people has an institution or policy that protects us in killing other people, including ourselves. You, on the other hand, is different. You have entire institutions, Department of Social Services. I mean, I can go on, that have a written base or that operate based on policies that don't take your community and our community into proper consideration. Why? Because two things. One, the people who form these laws were citizens that are not part of your community and don't care about you. Number one. Two, because we're not participating to tell our story.
Facts, brother. Facts.
That's what's going on, people. We're fighting the wrong fight. Y'all can say what you want to about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He did it right.
Yes, sir.
You understand? He did it right.
That's
and you
right.
don't got to be a part of the organization to practice these principles. You don't got to be a part of the organization to practice the principles. Just
That's right.
listen. That's all you got to do. You got to put a fez on. You don't want to put a fez on? Fine. You don't want to join the Moorish Science of America? Fine. Just listen to the logic, people. Look at the history. Look at the part of the history that they don't want you to know, and it's your history. Look at that, because history is programming in the present to secure your place in the future. Peace.
Woo, woo. Hey, brother, the brother just went in. The brother just went in. I'm telling you, I was just in a zone as the brother was going in. I want to keep it going. Brother, somebody grab this, brother. Just grab it. Keep it going. Keep it going, brother. Monty Tunica Hill.
What
Yes,
more
sir.
needs to be said? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, the Mo encapsulated that, beautifully. He definitely
Yes.
did. And, our hashtag, if you will, of Ali's men as it relates to Operation Proclamation is be the power.
That's right.
Not fight the power, be the power. And that's what he's talking about. Let's give you a loose example. I remember in Atlanta, particular city councils used to carry the vote with 1,500 votes. Because most of the people not voting in America, that's a fact anyway.
Fact.
So 1,500 measly votes would put a guy in office. So if you hit the ground in a grassroots organized effort, whatever you call your organization, y'all go door to door, y'all observe whatever the proper protocols are for securing signatures. And through that effort, including online also securing signatures, and through that effort, you raise 2,500. Now, he or she got in office with 15. Now you have a unified body of 25. The politicians are just representatives of their constituents. That's the people who put them in office. That's who they're beholden to. Now, I work for an organization where we organize teachers, and we had a guy, his name is Ben Lazarus, and he was one of the district organizers for both Obama campaigns. So these principles that I'm talking about, again, are put into place by people who win. So that Obama's campaign was a huge grassroots effort because he mobilized the masses through his charisma and through some of his ideas. Now, keeping that, coming back to my example as it relates to this councilman who gets in with 1,500 votes. You seek audience with him. Trust me, if it's done properly, it's already registered. He knows that you represent that 25. Whoever's the head of your particular organization of 25 registered voters who's under one thing, one identity, whatever it's called. You sit down and you have a list of demands for this guy. You tell him we want this, we want that. Operation Proclamation, we have initiatives and we have issues that we're particularly focuses on. And it's entrepreneurship, jobs, adult literacy, and of course, as it's getting more media, we intend to address this police situation as well through legislation. So you have these lists of demands and you make that clear to this politician. And one thing Ben Lazarus said about politicians, he said, except the most seasoned politicians, most of them are very super sensitive. Mm-hmm. If they hear any kind of eruption in the constituency, they panicking because everything depends on them being reelected.
Right.
The honor, the props, the perks that come along with it, the career trajectory that they've imagined for themselves. All of that they see as being at stake.
Right.
So if you come with this 25 and you organize, you have your list of demands, and you hold them to that, and you let them know that if they're not fulfilled, you are going to vote him out of office, and he know you real because you had those 2,500, and he only won last time with 1,500. Simple math. One thing my brother Well Bay mentioned concerning the Black Lives Matter movement down in Memphis, they blocked the freeways. Their tactics of civil disobedience were successful in securing a meeting with the mayor. The mayor asked them what were their demands. They did not have an organized list of demands. You had various people shouting this, that, and the third, and did come off as a one unified, organized group. Under Operation Proclamation, we will be moving as one group. Our demands will be clear. We will strategize in who's going to speak, who's going to say what when we sit at the table, and we will make those demands. Now, the prophet demonstrated that type of political sophistication in the 20s, where we have the Chicago Defender articles where the governor entertained, where the prophet entertained him in his private chambers.
That's right. That's right.
Why that? It wasn't something mystical. He knew that the prophet represented a unified voting bloc.
That's right.
And the prophet leveraged that to be able to get concessions to start businesses, schools, etc.
Islam, brother man, can I jump in there real quick?
Please do.
Praise the Lord. See, what he just said is so powerful, and I want to just make it just plain layman's terms. First of all, votes spend like money. You know, if you're a hustler or a former hustler, or if you just run a family household, you understand managing money. You understand stacking dollars. You understand how to stack your money, right? So that's all. That's what voting is. Votes spend like money. When you have a vote block, you have a bank. You have a political bank. You have a political investment firm. What do you do at that point? You buy and rent politicians. That's what you do. You buy them and you rent them. This is the political game. That's how it's played. How our people play it, because we don't have political sophistication, is we walk around with our hat in our hand politically, saying, "Can you please drop something in the hat for me, sir?" That's what we do, and that's why they don't respect us. I mean, no disrespect to the initiative Vote or Die, but that's what that is. It's organized despair. It's political slavery. That's what it is. And I want to read what Noble Drew Ali had to say about political slavery in 1928. I want everybody to listen, please. This is what he said. We could read this today, and it's perfect. It makes perfect sense today. Anytime a man or a woman fails or refuses to cast a sacred ballot at the polls, they separate themselves from all rights of an American citizen. For surely this is the one connecting medium for a citizen to his nation. They become no more than belated beasts of burden. There are reasons why certain classes who are more or less independent take no part in politics, since they say they get nothing out of such in the way of material gain. This is no less than a political slave, since they refuse to voice their sentiments at the polls. Another form of political slavery, which is probably more prevalent among the less independent classes, is that of being forced into one of the major parties, and they are bribed, coerced, or otherwise forced to vote the wishes of someone else, regardless of their own minds, before there can be general relief for the economic good of all. All forms of political slavery must be abolished, and every citizen must take his part in the affairs of the nation. That is powerful. Yeah. Now, one of the things that's very significant about that as it relates to Operation Proclamation and Prophet Noble Drew Ali in his day is this: we do not play party politics.
That's right.
We play community politics. Operation Proclamation is an issues-based block vote initiative for our people primarily. It's issues-based, not party-based. We don't play that game. To be party-based, and it's not our own party, is to participate in political slavery. We don't care what party you're in. We can vote you in or vote you out. You better carry our agenda. It's just
There
that.
you go.
Do you,
Based
realize,
on
do you realize how revolutionary that, how much of an independent thinker the prophet was to take that position? You know, it would be decades later for people to be talking about an independent party.
Yes, sir.
The Moorish Americans were an independent party in that regard, that they did not claim either of the major two parties, but voted based on what their issues were.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Very
Sir.
revolutionary, brother. You know, this is why we as Ali's men stress to Moors in particular, but to everybody, but to Moors in particular. Make sure that you get copies of these old Moorish guide newspapers and read what the prophet was saying from his own voice, from his own time. Stop letting these grand sheiks interpret to you what the prophet was saying, what the prophet meant. You got to read it for yourselves, brothers and sisters, because if you don't, you'll be in a temple that tells you not to vote. You'll be in a temple that tells you that you can't vote if they don't renew the Voting Rights Act. You'll be in a temple that tells you that you're a 14th Amendment citizen and the prophet voted on the free national ballot, and what you're doing today is just 14th Amendment slavery. And these people don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea about politics. They haven't educated themselves on the process. Voting has not changed in the United States. It is the same process during the prophet's time as it is today. Free national ballot just means that you're free to go cast a national ballot as a national people. That's what a free national ballot is. I mean, so stop listening to these lunatics, man. The Voting Rights Act does not convey any rights.
That's right.
It doesn't convey rights. It just simply keeps people from taking away a right that you already have.
That's fact. That's fact.
I
Yeah,
mean,
because the federal,
go ahead,
because
brother.
the federal government be in this catch-22. They know the Constitution was based on that premise that's in the Declaration of Independence, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, namely life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Right. So you have these at various intervals during a history where the federal government have to come in and pull rank on the racist states who were undermining that principle of the equality of man with all kind of fraudulent practices that's contrary to the pure creed of the USA. So the federal government would enact laws to clarify, because sometimes it be left a little ambiguous in people's interpreting of the Constitution. So the federal government would act these laws to put a check on the states so that the rights that were already inherited by us as citizens born in America to further protect those laws. And then they don't only protect us, other groups of national groups also use they use the Voting Rights Act. They cite these acts as well. So,
Yes,
you know, it's a lot of mythology as it relates to those things, and not a proper understanding of the history of this country. And I'm glad the brother Sharif hit on that, because that Reconstruction period is very key.
Yes, sir.
It's very profound in crystallizing what it is that we're seeing today and what it's all about. Because this thing is, these governments are amoral.
That's right.
They're not moral or wicked. It's whoever's in power that's driving the ship that's moral or wicked.
That's right.
So if you were able to access the power, particularly in your local communities where you have majorities, or linking up with other groups in strategic alliances to form majorities, then you can drive that ship and determine its course.
That's right.
But
This is what I was referring to at April 10th, you know, respectfully, when I told the brother Reggie, we're going to put wheels on his Black City Sovereignty plan and make it roll. We don't got to put wheels on it. The prophet did it in 1928.
That's where we got it from.
But now I want to direct everybody to the screen again. I saw someone in the chat. Shout out to the brother in the chat for asking the question. If you look on the screen the brother on the left, where it says re-elect Khalid Bey, 4th District Councilor, your vote is your voice. That is the brother that, along with myself, wrote and designed Operation Proclamation. He is a 3-time councilman for the 4th District in the city of Syracuse, New York. So What we're talking about is not myth made of the fleeting wind. Understand? This is something that's being done. It's working. It's plain and simple. The brother on the right with Fez on, that's my brother Shembe here in Syracuse, New York. He works with the Onondaga County Board of Elections office. So the idea, once again, is be the power. Rather than have your hat in your hand or protest or turn over a car or burn a building to try to get the attention of somebody who doesn't care about you, you put your brother or sister on the other side of the table, and that which is understood need not be explained. Peace.
Islam. And understand, brothers and sisters. Now, let's make this crystal clear. When we hear about, the unjust things that are going on to our brothers out there, man, to our sisters out there, we get mad. We
That's
get
right.
angry, just like you do. We feel it just like you do, down to our bones. I couldn't even sleep last night when I heard my brother, getting murdered. But you know what makes me lose more sleep is the fact that I know our people's not going to do anything about it. We're not going to take the proper steps to get out there and mobilize and take back our communities. You don't take back your community through violence. You take back your community through action.
Right.
First of all, we can start it with something as simple as the schools. In the schools, you have councils and you have superintendents. All these people are elected. But first of all, you got to start even attending the PTA meetings. You have a PTA president. Vote on that. Vote on the PTA president. See if you can gather votes to get a PTA president elected. And then once you practice there, then you take it to the next level. We have to start somewhere. We have to actually start implementing these programs. We can't just talk about it. We can't just like it on Facebook. We can't just like it in the chat room. No, we got to put it into action, brothers and sisters. We have to. Our future depends on it. Our children's future depends on our action, not our inaction. And we like to refer to the prophet back in the 1920s. Think about the fact that in the 1920s, they didn't have, mass transportation like we do now. They didn't have the internet. They didn't have the means of communication that we have right now. They didn't have all of the technology that we have right now. We can reach more people through Twitter. It would have took them days and days to reach, and weeks to reach the amount of people that we can reach on Facebook, on Twitter, on Snapchat, on all these mediums, on Instagram. We can talk to each other through video. We have so many methods and means of communications, and we can put forth candidates. We can vet candidates, find out what their body of politics is. Will they support our body of politics? And then we start running them, man. We got to run our own candidates. You understand? And don't let skin tone fool you. I'm telling you, sometimes you might have to you might need a chameleon in office. Think about it. If you're not the majority somewhere, you're the minority. So you might need a chameleon in office. But think about it. Maybe in that same district, 300 votes will put him in office. So he'll do your bidding. Once again, you are the swing vote.
Right.
The swing vote is important. Who do they cater to and pander to on these news channels? They talk about the swing vote all the time. And they're trying to get the people that's still sitting on the fence. Those voters that are sitting on the fence, those blocks that are sitting on the fence, the independent voters. They already know what the Democrats going to do. They already know what the Republicans going to do. You got to stop being slaves to the Democratic Party. I understand that they talk good and it sounds good to you. But listen, just because it sounds good to you, they haven't been doing anything for you. Have you seen improvements in your community?
Right.
Have you seen improvements in your schools, or do you see the schools shutting down? Do you have more job opportunities? Because those tax dollars bring about job opportunities. Understand? It's like, I like to use Brother Sharif's analogy, how, the way we handle our process is it's like we walk into the store, lay our money on the counter, and then just walk out. Right. We can't operate like that anymore. We got to do better.
And Islam, brother, and nobody respects that. And if you do that generation after generation, then nobody even looks for you at the table. You know what I'm saying? Nobody looks for you at the table. It's just that simple. Now, I want to touch on a couple things that, camelback off a couple things that the brothers said. One of them is, I want to fast forward to the present day. How all of this stuff relates to what we're looking at on TV now, including the police brutality issue. Let's talk about it directly. See, because
what I wanted you to do too, bro? I wanted you to touch on how this relates to the national elections, so we can get into that as well. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So, you know, politics is always local, but don't discount the national. There's a reason for that. But let me touch on this real quick first. We'll jump back to that. You know, we described in history Reconstruction era time. This is the fact. European hostility for us wasn't really that high during slavery. That the whole European hostility against our people really got big after slavery during the time period in question. Why? Because during slavery, we were considered property. You take care of your property. You understand?
Indeed.
After that, during Reconstruction, it was altogether different. It was like, wait a minute, why? Peep this. From 1865 to 1870, all of a sudden, the people that they looked at as subhuman were running the South.
That's right.
Running the South, and quite well, I should say.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how do you think they felt about that? We already know how they felt about it. Look at the KKK. Look at the White League. Look at the red shirts. Look at all this other crazy stuff. What was their sentiment? And I'm giving you the exact words. We are taking America back. Sound familiar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They're saying that in 2016, people. It's the same sentiment. I want everybody to get this book. I don't have a copy of it in front of me, but the book is called The End of White Christian America. Google it. The End of White Christian America. Please get the book, and you will understand why you have a simultaneous rise in Islamophobia concurrent with a rise of outward hostility towards our people. Don't you think for a second these two things are not connected.
They are.
Whether you know it, and this deals with Moorish history, but you know, that's another show. That's another show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But they're both connected in the minds of the European. Both of them. The rise in Islamophobia in America and the rise of outward hostility towards Asiatics, towards our people, because they see them both as the same people. Look at J.B. Stoner, the former Grand Dragon of the KKK. Look at the letter J.B. Stoner wrote to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and you'll see it right there. That's Moorish Science 101, straight up and down. But now you're looking at the same conditions or very similar conditions in the social-political landscape. Here we go, people. Let's check this out. I know this is happening in every urban center in the United States, so everybody knows this story. Here you go. What's going on for the past 5 to 7 years in your city is Europeans from the suburbs are moving in and pushing you out. Isn't that happening in Atlanta, St. Louis?
Yeah.
It's happening everywhere.
New York City.
Up too, brother.
Let me give you a little bit of history. Let me show you how this ties into Operation Proclamation and what the prophet taught. During the Civil Rights Movement, one of the big things that scared Europeans more so than the riots and more so than the young people and more so than Stokely Carmichael, Kwame Ture types was our people were becoming more politically astute and politically sophisticated. What did Europeans do? They called it white flight. They got up out the cities and moved to the suburbs. They left the cities and took the money with them. The only thing was they still had business interests in the urban centers, but they left us there. Fast forward to now, or fast forward to 15 years ago to now, the urban centers are overwhelmingly us. Suburbia is overwhelmingly them, but they still have business interests inside. What does that mean politically, people? It don't cost you a buck to vote. All it takes is to organize under a singular agenda. You understand what that means? That means that our people in every urban center, if they organized politically, could take over the city overnight. This is the number one reason that you have gentrification going on in the urban centers. This is the number one reason why you have city-county mergers, which are really counties swallowing up the city. This is why. It's to dilute the potential Asiatic political power and to preempt it from organizing and mobilizing.
Indeed.
Understand, people? You don't need dollars to vote. The prophet said money doesn't make a man and clothes don't make the man. It's free national standards and power that make a man in a nation. Power meaning influence. Your vote is influence. And to one of the questions in the chat about petitions, right? Votes spend like money, which is why there's so many restrictions and stipulations on petitions, people, because you can almost look at them as banking instruments. And if you organize votes via petition, you are a banker. Understand that. You could have all types of felonies, can't get a job and all this other stuff. Organize 500 votes and watch what happens. Politics trumps the law. And what I'm talking is not theory. We got people right here in Syracuse with county jobs that had Fed beefs, Fed Rico beefs, got out, and now they work for the county. You figure it out. Peace.
Islam, Brother Tuna Gill.
Islam.
Brother Tuna Gill, we got brothers asking what can they get copies of the old Moorish guy newspapers, Mom?
Well, the Schomburg Center in Harlem, they have a set of the Moorish guides, as well as other papers from the Moorish Science Temple of America. And you also have a more online on Facebook, Brother D. Miller Ill or Exu Miller Ill. He has some of them available in digital copy. Exu, EXU Miller Ill. Or you can contact the Schomburg Center. And that's how I originally got them. I ordered them from the Schomburg. They sent them. And when I began reading them, so much clarity about what this movement is dedicated to became very apparent.
Yes, sir.
You see the true spirit of the movement, how it interacted with the larger community. It was not a secret. It was pro our people without a doubt. And its services and cooperative economics that the temple demonstrated, all of those principles was actually manifested and demonstrated in the community. And the Moorish guys are the record of that. It'll clear up a lot of confusion about what the movement is dedicated to. Because also, I don't want to lose this train of thought as it relates to coming back to the politics and Operation Proclamation. Because we've been socialized and we've also had teachers who misled us in this withdrawal from the process type of teaching, which it's almost like we're being children and we're leaving the grown folks' business to the other citizens.
That's right.
Oh, let them handle the institutions, let them participate in the process, and we just use every excuse not to be active.
Right.
Not to fulfill our responsibilities, which are coincided with our rights as citizens. And the responsibility of the citizen is to participate in the civic affairs of the nation of which he's a citizen in. Right? Because again, in Alabama, they moved the DMV. First of all, they instituted ID laws because they know a lot of brothers and sisters, for whatever reason, warrants. You know, it's a very intricate system. A lot of these cities, their operating budget comes from the poor, which are by and large our people. That was demonstrated in the Justice Department report in Ferguson.
That's right.
So they keep them in a perpetual debt as it relates to petty traffic violations, etc.
Yep.
So they enact ID laws, which they know you don't have one, to be able to vote. And then one of the counties in Alabama, they also moved the DMV out of the community where people who possibly could get ID, now they have to go through extra hardship to secure an ID because they moved the DMV to a couple of towns away. Why do they go to such lengths if it doesn't matter?
That's right.
Why do they go to such lengths if there's no potential for power there? They wouldn't care.
Right.
They redraw districts. They have all kind of machinations to keep you out of the process. Why is that? If there's no potential for power there.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right, brother. Let me touch on that really quick.
So you
go ahead,
Mo.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, brother, man.
Well, I'm just saying, you know, we just can't continue to make excuses.
Yes, sir.
And actually manifest as that lazy, shiftless person that the Birth of Nation portrayed us to be. We can't actually be that anymore. We don't have that. We don't have that luxury. We're dying in the streets.
That's right. That's right.
And to that point, brother, I want to put everybody on. See, people. This is what people want to hear. They're hearing this, and it's good. And we're making it simple so that they can understand, which is very good, because that also removes the excuses. But now people want to hear, well, what can you do? Give me an example of what you could do about this.
Hey, brother, can I grab this before you grab it? I'm going to tell you what you can do to Baltimore, what you can do in Baltimore. You can come to 3802 Clifton Avenue, and we can sit down and put these boots on the ground, rubber to the road, and get it done. That's Bottom line. That's what you can do. Take it away, brother Sharif.
Yes, sir. Is any one of us on this panel, which is actual fact. In New York, we got, what do we got on this panel right now? We got Baltimore, Maryland. We got Atlanta, Georgia. We got New York City, and we got Syracuse, New York. You know, any one of us, you can reach any one of us, and we put boots to the ground and we hit doors.
You know what? One basic thing that people can begin to do and should begin to do is start familiarizing themselves with what civics actually is.
Right.
And, you know, understanding the role that the citizen is supposed to play in this society. For too long, our people have been inactive, and based on the inactivity is based on a lack of education and civic knowledge. This is just an actual fact. And a lot of the stuff that's been coming to the people under the guise of civics is not really civics. It was a lot of sovereign citizen rhetoric. But what we're talking about right now is a civic-based understanding. It's all based in civics. Civics is the branch of political science that deals with the rights and duties of citizenship. That's what needs to happen. The people got to get a basic fundamental foundation of what it is they're supposed to even be doing.
Right.
Indeed.
Because some of this stuff can go over people's head. Like, this is why they're asking, what can we do? What can we do? One of the first things is get educated on what civics is, what your role as a citizen is, and then register to vote. We got a lot of people who are not even registered to vote.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Right. Now let me hit this real quick. See, because I want to, because I know, you know, times of the essence, but I want to give people something to chew on and walk away with, because this police brutality issue is painful, very painful. It's designed to be painful, but it's also designed to be painful in a way that keeps your emotions high, so your intellect doesn't work. You understand? It keeps your emotions high. You understand? And yes, you're right. You know, and another thing in addition, I want to add to what Brother Ali Bey just said: know civics, know your state constitution, know the political leaders in your local area, know your district representative.
That's right.
Understand? Know their name, have their phone number. It's just that simple.
Hey,
you know, go ahead, bro.
My congressional district is the 13th. My congressman is Charlie Rangel. Okay, my council member is Inez Dickens from the District 9. Like, we're supposed to know these things. But go ahead, bro. I just wanted to throw that out.
Sir. Now let's talk about this police brutality thing. But that's important. That people should know that. You see what I'm saying? If we're talking about, you know, politics and government and our involvement in them to do what? To change the condition of our people. And if you're talking about uplifting fallen humanity, or you're talking about banging on the beast, in other words, changing the condition of our people for the better, and you don't know nothing about social science or political science, you're ill-equipped. It's just that simple. You're ill-equipped. All right. But anyway, let's talk about this police brutality thing, people. Please follow me close. And I want you to really understand this. I'm going to use myself as an example. I teach security, private security. I do training for law enforcement, training for some military personnel. All right. When I was first putting this whole thing together, an Asiatic brother out of LA who was very big in the world in security, private security, he said, listen, brother, what you're going to need. You're a civilian, your guys are civilians. You're going to end up putting your hands on somebody or whatever, and you're going to get sued, or one of your guys is going to get arrested or whatever. You're going to end up in court. You're going to need a professional witness. I said, dude, I can't afford that. You know, what do you mean a professional witness? What do you mean? He said, follow me. He said, what you need to do is you write out and design and craft your training manual side by side with the laws in New York State on use of force. So all of your procedures, listen close, people, all of your procedures are in line with the New York State laws on use of force continuum. What that means is, Brother Sharif, is that if one of your guys does end up on the stand or in court, as long as he followed the procedures which are in line with the laws of use of force, if in the process of following the procedure, which is in line with the use of force in New York State, somebody is injured, maimed, or killed, it is legal because it's within the laws of use of force in the state of New York. Do you understand what I'm saying, people? The brother Mati earlier in the show talked about why police unions are so strong and so powerful and so influential. It's because they have lawyers that craft the policy for policing.
Yes.
And they're in the contracts with their state capital.
That's right.
If you're going to address police brutality, that is where you address it, people. You don't address it with public relations training for officers. That's crazy. When you do that, people who know what the issue is, who are not on your side, realize you are not intelligent enough to understand the root of the issue. You address the law. You address the policy. And the only way to do that is politically. You need to G up politically. Get your weight up politically with a singular agenda that benefits you, and then you buy the politician. And you address the issue directly, or he has no job the following term.
That's right.
This is how it's done, people. This is how it's done. That's called the sovereign power. That's called handling your business. Now, you want to address the police brutality issue? I just gave it to you right there. That's how it's done. Now, don't think you're going to be in for a fight. See, people talk that on, agent this, and they're tapping my phone that. And they talk all that stuff, right? You really want to see what that's about? Follow this line of logic. As Jesus said in the Bible, you want the power that I got? Pick up your cross and follow me.
Yeah, I'm telling you. And real quick. What amazes me is that when we look at the fraternal order of the police, they defend the police, but we don't have nobody in there to defend the regular citizen. So why don't we put someone in office to balance the weight? We fight, as you say, Brother Sharif, we are constantly fighting the wrong fight. They have powerful organizations to defend the interests and the freedom of the police. And they got the policy to back up their interests. We have yet to put somebody in there to create a fraternal order of the regular citizen to balance the power. When are we going to come together? And that's what I'm pleading for those in Baltimore to come to the temple. Listen, real quick, Brother Sharif, I know you're at the edge of your seat, but real quick, and I use this as an example. When we was on the continent of Africa, all of those black power, this, you can't call yourself black, you can't call yourself Moor, and all this stuff. Forget that for a second. When we were on the continent of Africa, and I used this analogy before, when we traveled across from country to country, to tribe, and we seen the person with the big plate in the lip, we didn't run from it. We said, hey, what is that? I would like to understand that. Boom. We came in, they washed our feet, they fed us, and we started to understand the plate in the lip. We seen the people with the red clay on. We didn't run from it. We came to it. We understood it. They fed us, washed our feet, and on and on and on and on and on. The point that I'm getting to, when you see a Moorish Science Temple of America, why are you running from it? Every temple in Africa was a school of learning. Every temple was predicated upon learning something. But now we see a temple, and now we say, oh, they trying to proselytize me. Oh, they trying to convert me. Oh, they trying to. Why don't we say, let's see what that is about? For once, let's just see what it's about. It could actually save your life and your children's life.
Right.
Go ahead, Brother Sharif.
Yes, sir. I mean, powerful point, brother, man. You know, but back on what I was saying about this whole police brutality thing and anything, man. Here, let me throw another one at you all, at the listeners, right? Right. Family is the nation in miniature. If you're not taking care of family, if you're not preserving the family structure, we know right now the biggest war socially in our community is the war on family structure.
That's right.
Okay, whenever you start talking about people, when you hear people talking about redefining manhood and redefining roles of womanhood, man, you already know what that is. All right, that's another topic altogether. Shout out to our sister Melanin Sutek in New York City. She handles that quite well. But now, as far as the family goes, we know as men, we know one of the biggest weapons used against us, whether purposely or otherwise, is family law.
Yes, sir.
Child support. That's crazy, right? We know that it's decimating families. And guess what? The people in the system, whether they're European or Asiatic, know it too.
Yes, sir.
And if you talk to one of them honestly, they'll tell you, "Oh, the system's broken. It's broken." But how do you address it? The same way I gave you as far as addressing the police issue. It is because it's based on policy that shapes an institution. It's an institution that's shaped by policy. Policy is shaped by politics.
That's right.
Politics people engage, the citizenry engage in politics.
That's right.
If you don't engage, then you are not at the table. You are on the menu. It's just that simple. You're on the menu. So what do? Family law legislative reform.
That's right.
That's right.
Big words to say, change the family laws. Here's one real simple one, people. Something, it's small, but it'll have a huge impact. Here we go. You're a brother trying to do your thing. You know, you don't make a lot of money. Your queen doesn't make a lot of money at all. Plus, y'all got a child. So you got to take care of the child. What happens? You already know. You go down to get some assistance because you figure, hey, I'm a citizen. Hey, I need assistance. I need some help. I ain't no deadbeat. I will work. We live together. We're a family. And what's the first thing they tell you? They turn their back on you while you're right there in the office. Look at your queen and say, listen, we'll get you help. We'll get you help. But you got to file. You got to file against him for support. He can't live in the house. You already know where this goes. Now he's out, or he's got to sneak in and out. Can't have his shoes anywhere. You know how it goes, right?
Not the truth, brother.
We know.
I seen it before. I'm in the housing business. I see it all the time.
Now you got to find some other place to stay. Who you gonna stay with?
Your mom.
You gonna stay with some other chick? You already know. And so she sees you as a commodity. You're a convenience for her. She can move you in or kick you out at will. That broke up the family. Yep. So now there's between you and the wife or you and the queen. You already know where this goes. And then they hit your pocket. As soon as you get the job, you're in arrears, and they put a lien on your account. Here we go.
Then they arrest you on Friday.
There you go. That's a fact. So here we go. Here we go, people. What if we mobilize all these concerned dads or malaffected or ill-affected dads and say, listen, we're gonna put this law into effect, or we're gonna propose this law, and the law says, and this is something small, people, we reduce or increase. I'm sorry, we increase the amount of money that you have to have in the account before they put a lien on it from $1,000 to $3,000. In some states, it's $500. Let's increase it to $3,000. Guess what that allows you to do? Have a bank account. You ain't got to hustle and do stuff off the books. Get it, people?
Excellent.
Islam, brother. I know that.
How about that?
Islam, brother.
Win-win, people. That's a win-win. And anybody against it tells on themselves to say, you know what? We just don't like you. And that's not good politics. See, the whole thing about the European, especially when it comes to being dirty, their big thing is that they want to look clean, even when they're dirty. You understand? So when it's issues-based and your policy and your agenda is win-win, you're not coming with your hat in your hand. You're coming with solutions for society that benefit you primarily, but it benefits everybody else too. So nobody can say no in their right mind. That's another one for you. You see? There you go.
Islam, or yeah, I know for a fact that it works. You know how I know it works? Because we did it in North Carolina. We got the child support law changed in North Carolina because I was on the hook. I'm talking about personal. I'm telling a little bit of my personal business right now.
Sir.
I was on the hook for a child that DNA proved wasn't even mine, brother. I had to pay for it. It took about 6 to 7 years to get that legislation changed, but we didn't stop. We just kept building our coalition up. And then once we got it built up to the point where it was large enough, then we were able to go to find somebody in the house that we pulled to the side and said, listen, this is the law that we want changed. You know, and then he took that to the House, they voted on it, they took it to the Senate. We talking state Senate, we talking state House, we talking state law. You know, because in every state, the child support law is different. You know, you might have a good law in Ohio, but in Texas, it's terrible. You know, so we had to get the law changed in North Carolina because they had a provision in the law that after 60 days, people don't even know. This is why I say you got to read your state constitution. You got to know your laws in your state. Because after 60 days, if you haven't challenged paternity, then you're on the hook. You're saying I'm the dad. So legally, you become the dad, whether you can prove it or not. That's old English law, brother.
Wow.
Old English law. And that's what that's what's on the books in most states. See, what we did was we took the laws that I know a brother, Cornell Smith, he formed the coalition here in Georgia, and he got the law changed in Georgia. So he gave us the blueprint. We took his blueprint and we got it changed in North Carolina to the point where now a young man can challenge paternity at any time.
Excellent.
Yes, it works. The system works. That's what I'm trying to tell you, people. The system works. You just got to use it, and you got to be persistent.
See, brother, this is why I want to say this too. I want to throw this out there too for everybody outside of the Moorish Science Temple of America that has questions as to why we fly the American flag. We say the Moorish flag and the American flag combined. Now you know why. Because we got a stake in this thing. We ain't running from it.
That's right.
We have a stake in this, man. We have as much stake as any other person on American soil in American society. So we fly that flag proudly because it's ours.
That's right.
Don't look at it like it's somebody else's. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your forefathers either.
That's right. We're the most American. In this nation, we are the most American of all Americans because we did our labor for free.
Woo.
Yes. And the labor that we did contributed to everything that you see today.
Everything.
That you see today, not yesterday, today. They still living off our labor today.
That's right. That's
today.
right.
But brother, as we bring this to a close, I remember one brother had a question. He was asking about reparations. Let's touch on reparations. Hopefully the brother is still around. He was like, how do the Moors feel about reparations? Will we get reparations?
Well, I want to touch on it in relation to the Moorish movement and in relation to the topic, Operation Proclamation. Okay, the Japanese got reparations for their internment here in the States during World War II, the Japanese Americans. But how were they able to do so, right? The Japanese are a national group. Let me say that again. They're a national group.
That's right.
Meaning there's a structure in place for dissemination of any funds to its constituents.
That's right.
Understand? There is no such thing as a black national group.
Woo!
Who are you going to give the money to?
Cadillac dealership.
Yeah, see what I'm saying?
Stop it,
and to that point, that's a tough one, but it's the truth. To that point, where is the black economy? And I don't mean potential economy, which we already know rivals that of the third richest country on the planet. But we don't benefit from it. We give it to everybody else. What I mean by economy is what we had at Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Right.
Where the money stays in the hood and we make ourselves rich, it circulates. That's an economy. That's where you have an economy. Somebody else is feeding them, right?
That's
So
right.
without that, they could give us the money today, and we will have it. We will not have it within 30 days. Within 30 days, it'll be right back in their hands. It will be the worst and the most cruel joke to ever play on us to give us money today. They gave us money today, we'd be right where we are now in 30 days. And that's just the truth, man. We have to practice the right principles. Let's go back to Black Wall Street. The physical destruction of Black Wall Street in 1921 did not destroy the principles. So guess what? The people rebuilt it in 4 years, practicing the very same principles. How did Black Wall Street go away? We walked away from it because we abandoned those principles through integration. That's what destroyed Black Wall Street. We have to get back to the principles. Claude Anderson is a brilliant brother, and he comes up with brilliant financial and economic structures, but without the principle of love and unity, they will not work. It's just that simple. Without the principle of love and unity, and what cultivates love and unity? Affinity does, people. Affinity, meaning common ancestry. Common agreed upon ancestry, common cultural heritage, and common American experience. That's called nationality, whether you like it or not. That is the number one way that people organize.
Right. Organization and unification that goes hand in hand with nationality. If you can't get those things together, man, you're not rocking.
Right. Exactly. And I want to echo what my brother Sharif just said.
Yes, sir.
The Japanese got paid.
Yes, they did.
Guess why they got paid? Because they was a national group.
There you go.
They had someone that stood to the front and said, give it to me and I'll distribute it to the national group.
Right.
We have nothing we stand for as a cohesive group of people under terms of Negro, Black, colored, or whatever.
You know what's interesting too, just real quick, about the reparations thing is not all African Americans are in agreement about whether or not reparations is something that's needed. Everybody don't feel the same about it. So there's not even a consensus on that particular issue.
And see, that's the thing. That's one of the problems because we're not a national group. Everybody thinks they have a voice. If you're a national group, then you have spokesmen that speak for you, speak for your interests. See, we don't have anybody that speak for our interests, so everybody think they have a voice. Why should everybody be talking about whether they think we should get reparations or not? I guarantee you, every last one of the detractors, if they got the check, they'd be smiling.
That's right.
Think about that. Think about that. The majority of the people shouldn't even have a say in it. It's about our ancestors, man. It's about what they went through. These people, they shouldn't even have a say in it. They shouldn't even have a say in it. We should have a coalition of lawyers, coalition of politicians, lawyers, people who know the law.
That's right.
Who make that decision.
Now, I want to say this. The prophet is reported to have said, don't throw away your slave names because the Europeans going to have to pay off with compounded interest.
Yep, I heard it too.
Now, what we're going to say, what I'm going to say, and I'm going to leave it at that, I ain't going to say no more, is part of the problem is that our people are looking to the wrong people for the reparations, and that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That's why, that's why.
Yeah, don't say too more. Don't say too much more. Don't say too much more. Yep, because they'll jump on it. Yeah, yes, and the wrong people. It'll be those folks. You know who we talking about.
Right.
Brother Grimion, before we close out, brother, I know you be handling your business. You come in, you come out, man. All praise be to Allah, brother. You a true soldier of Allah. This brother is at work. I already said jumping in the building. He's a firefighter. I just hope you ain't jumping in the building, coming back smelling like smoke, and then demonstrate the prophet, then go jump to another building, save a child, save the kitty cat, and all that. But whatever the case, brother, you make it back to the chat room, brother. Talk to the people before we get out of here, brother. Did you save any kitty cats?
He coming off the turnbuckle. He coming off the turnbuckle.
Right. Well, I'm back in here. The only thing I could say is I'm in full support of what you brothers doing. I'm glad brother Sharif broke it down. I was tuning in and out and listening to the as much as I could, while I'm on duty. But with that being said, man, I just like to say peace and love. And I looked at the chat group, and everybody's excited basically about what y'all saying. So, what you doing, brother Sharif, and all the brothers of Ali's, man, I give y'all honor because basically what we are having is a new Moorish paradigm. So basically, Noble Drew Ali said, for people to spend time in an up to date library. And with that being said, as opposed to jumping on somebody's website and buying some sovereign citizen stuff, people go start spending time in a up to date library, looking up and learning some of the things that you brothers were teaching. So, in that regards, I'm grateful and I'm proud. So I say peace.
Peace. But before you go,
Peace.
did you have to
Yeah.
save any kitty cats? Now,
Oh yeah, just a lot of sick people, man.
oh,
A lot of
praise
sick
God.
people. Hurt people, sick people, and keep your health together. I just want to say, that because man, life is, man, it's a thin cord. So just keep it together. That's all I'm gonna
That's
say,
right.
beloved.
That's right.
Yeah, all
Hmm.
jokes aside, brother, we definitely appreciate you, brother, and we definitely honor your efforts, brother, because you do, man, you're a hard act to follow, brother. You come in and come out, and we definitely appreciate your efforts. But with that being said, let's start with brother Ali Bey. Any closing words, brother Ali Bey?
Yes, indeed. We are in a national election cycle. There are two candidates. One of the things that the people have to do is look at what these two people are talking about in terms of their agenda, and our particular station in society right now, the things that we're dealing with. One of the issues that we're dealing with is the issue of mass incarceration, the issue of criminal justice reform, which needs to happen. I'm going to say this. One candidate has a plan for criminal justice reform. One candidate has a plan for the end of mass incarceration. The other candidate has no plan for this whatsoever. We know that the issue of mass incarceration, police reform, these things like that, these are at the forefront of what our people are going through right now. We see it on the news all of the time, the police issues, Brother Sharif touched on it, and so forth. So I'm not saying who to vote for, but one of the things I'm going to say is that withholding the vote is not a demonstration of political power. It is nothing but a surrender of the power that you do have. Okay, so bigger than just the people who are running for office, you have to think about what it is that they stand on and what it is that they as presidents will be able to do. One of the important things is the appointment of Supreme Court justices as well as federal judges. I put something on Facebook the other day as it pertains to stop and frisk, which Donald Trump wants to re-implement nationwide, not just in the not just in New York, but nationwide. The problem with that is that it was ruled unconstitutional by a Brooklyn federal judge. The issue then came where a panel of judges removed that woman who ruled it to be unconstitutional. And this is what we're dealing with. We're actually in a fight where we have to stay vigilant. We have to stay diligent on what it is we're supposed to be focused on. And this is what President Barack Obama was talking about when he said he would be personally insulted if our people let down their guard at this point in time. Seeing the type of fight that you have in front of you right now, to let down your guard at this point in time because you're not completely satisfied with either candidate, would be insane. And this is what he was saying when he said he would be insulted if we did that. So we have to take that whole thing into context. All right. And as far as I'm concerned, that's one of the main things we need to look at right now. When it came down to the issues that our people faced in terms of discrimination and racial issues, most of those things stemming from Jim Crow and so forth were enforced at the local and state levels. Whenever our people were able to seek remedy, we were able to get that from the federal level, whether it was through the Justice Department or some federal act of legislation, which people like Dr. King were very instrumental in helping to implement. So what we have to do is pay attention to the national elections. Yes, politics is local, but it's also national. It's all important. And I think we just have to be very, very aware of what's going on and our role in all of it. And with that, I say peace.
Peace, brother to the kill. Any departing words, my brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, we just don't have the luxury to be passive anymore. And I don't mean active in the sense of going out in the streets, destroying things. I understand the anger. The youth are going to get it out in one way or the other. So I'm not speaking on whether that's right or wrong. You know, civil disobedience is also a tactic of citizens. But having said that, as Brother Sharif mentioned, it happens at the policy and the legislative level. And there are so many areas where we are actual majorities. In Ferguson, they were well over almost 60% majority voting age. So when people hear that, and the simple math of that suggests that our people should be running the city in Ferguson. But so, you know, let us promote more and our people receiving civic education, whether we like to hold classes in YMCAs and local community centers. We need to be holding some civic classes, right, to teach citizens what their rights and responsibilities are. You know, I myself, work for a nonprofit organization that's mission to ensure that teachers have a voice in policy making. 2 teachers founded the organization because they realized that the people who are making education law, they don't include teachers in the discussion. So 2 teachers founded this organization 6 years ago. Now the organization has 5 chapters around the country, very well funded, to where they are co-CEOs now of this nonprofit organization. And we know they're making well past mid six figures. And they're still doing this work where they have a team of outreach directors, which is my title, who are going into schools, organizing teachers, because the organization has so many different opportunities for teachers to sit in front of policymakers and advocate for themselves. So again, what we're espousing is not any magic. It's what all the other citizens are participating in some form or fashion. And we can't be one of those kids doing our own thing with using all types of excuses to opt out of the affairs of men. That's what the prophet called it. He said he came to bring us back to enter the affairs of men. So with that being said, Vermilion Eels got all us using that phrase now. With that being said, peace and love, Moors. We love our people, and as my D said, we feel it. We get angry, we get mad as hell when it's happening. It's unjust.
Now you sound like my DL.
People are
we
human.
get mad as hell.
Straight up. I sat in the park and wrote a piece today called Red Rum Cocktail. It's like we drinking red rum.
Woo!
We drinking red rum like it's cheap Kool-Aid. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's real out here. We don't have the luxury not to step in the affairs of men and women and flex the potential of the power that we possess. Peace.
Peace, brother Mathiel. We mad as hell.
Brother, we are, but
yes,
we gotta,
sir, brother.
We gotta learn to channel that energy in the right direction.
Absolutely.
We got to use our voice properly. Instead of just yelling in the streets and getting our 5 minutes of fame with the reporter, going off on a reporter, embarrassing them. We need to go to the polls and embarrass these politicians. We need to organize. We have to. This is not a request. This is what we have to do in order to survive, or we're going to continue to be killed in the streets. We're going to continue to be maligned. We're going to continue to look like the buffoons of the world. I mean, it's because we're not standing up and taking our own civic duty and taking our own responsibility. And we have to do that. We have to do these things. I don't believe in putting out the fire. I believe in taking the fire and redirecting, you know, and I believe that we have to get off the menu as an item and start, you know, helping to write and design the menu. You know, we can't be yesterday's leftovers anymore. We have to stand up. We have to take our civic responsibility. We have a civic responsibility. You know, if for nothing else, do it for your children. You know, if for nothing else, do it for your families. I mean, consider the fact that these people will kill your child as young as 13, 12 years old. You know, think about that. I mean, they killed that young boy in Ohio. He didn't even weigh 100 pounds.
Right.
You know, and it's nothing for them. So if you want to get angry, get angry. You know, we don't have to cuss about it. You know, we don't have to cuss and raise holy hell in order to get angry. Be angry on the inside to the point where it boils over and makes you get up and decide to do something. Where it makes you decide that and realize that we are all that we have. You know, Brother Tahaka Bay been saying it the whole show. You don't want to call yourself a Moor. Don't call yourself a Moor. You know, I don't want to call myself black. Don't get mad at me because I don't want to call myself black. Let's just work together. We have a common enemy. We have common problems. We have a common body of politics. And our body of politics trumps everything because our body of politics tells you about our living conditions. It tells you about our the safety of our communities, the neglect of our communities, the bad water that we're getting. You know, these people are poisoning our water. They don't care about you at all. You have to make them care. You have to start, in other words, you have to start caring about yourself. The governor of Michigan should be in jail right now, but you have no power. You haven't exercised your political voice. That's why that man's not in jail. Kwame Kilpatrick went to jail for some text messages, and because he got some booty. I mean, come on, man. We got to wake up. We got to be stronger than that. So as a people, let's stand up. Let's stand up and raise your voice. Political voice. Don't listen to these fools telling you not to do it because they don't know how to do it. They don't understand. Go to the website, look up Operation Proclamation, see if it's good for you. I guarantee you'll come out with a favorable reply if you take the bias, take the big dot out your eye. Stop being biased and really read the plan. It's for your benefit. It's for our benefit. Peace.
Hey, Brother Sharif, bring it home before I come in, my brother. I know you got something to take us home, brother.
Absolutely, brother. I want everybody to understand, you know, just a couple key phrases. If you're not at the table, you are on the menu.
What?
Just that simple. If you're not at the table, you are on the menu. You're not participating in your own political affairs. And remember, politics determines who manages the public money, which is your money. And if you live in the urban center, then you are the majority. So that means that a whole bunch of us are going to the store and putting our money on the counter for the other guy and walking away without our product. It's just that simple. Stop doing that. Stop doing it. You understand? Somebody else is forming policy and shaping policy according to their whims and ideas. You see? And right now, they're scared of you. They are definitely frightened of you. Even though we ain't got it together, we fight amongst each other. We're not even participating in their scare. Now you think about that. You see the outward hostility. Yeah, you know what it is. You know what it is. That's outward hostility. I'm not going to call it war. You know why I'm not going to call it war? Because war takes two combatants.
Yes, sir.
I don't care what anybody says. Shout out to Shanetta. I don't care. You know, he's bugging. Talking about there's brothers on the front line dying and fighting. No, stop.
Where?
Stop it.
Where?
Stop that, man. This whole show demonstrated what the real fight is. And if you ain't changing policy, if you're not in the fight to participate in your own affairs and change policy, then you ain't in the fight. You're not in the fight. You're talking about some people that can literally, it's like the Matrix, where they reprogram something and where there was a window, now there's a brick wall and you can't get out. And it happens overnight. You understand? And it's because they play this game, and this is the game that they've tried to keep you out of since the end of the Civil War, people.
That's right. That's right.
But we played the game before, understand? But that's the part of history they don't want you to know. We introduced you to that on this show. Now let's pick it up. Let's pick up where we left off. Let's now actually fight. Talking crazy and raising your fist in the air, and even some of us in the Moorish movement doing similar things and not addressing these issues that we spoke about today. It's organized despair. You are not in the fight. So a war is when you have two or more combatants. This isn't war right now. What this is people kicking off on your backside and you saying, yes, sir, boss, may I have another? That's what's happening right now. You understand? You want to get in the fight? The fight is to change policy. The fight is to change policy. These dudes will change policy and then kill you in the street broad daylight and laugh about it because they made the policy such so that they could do it and get away with it.
Right.
That's how it works. Get in the game. You're not in the game. We're not in the game. Let's get in the game. The prophet laid the example for us, and I'm going to end with this. He said, I want you all to think about what all we shared today, and I'm going to leave you with this statement that the prophet Noble Drew Ali said. He said that this, through the Moorish Science Temple of America, but what we've been talking about, these principles, is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens. Peace.
Peace. And I'm gonna bring it home with this. I got a few things I want to say. First of all, my brother Sinetta, big up to Sinetta, and I'm not name dropping just to use his name, but he made a statement one time a while back when he said the Moors be filing paperwork. Which true Moors, we know that that's not what Moorish science is all about. But just for the sake of understanding, he said Moors is file paperwork. As soon as you file one paperwork, the European, which he didn't call it European, but the European just make a new law and then make a new law. And then if everything you file, the European will make a new law. He'll change it and then change it. Did y'all hear what I just said? He said the European will make a new law. How about that we put ourselves in a position to receive the paperwork and to make the new law? This is all we're talking about. I'm telling you, in Baltimore, Maryland, 3802 Clifton Avenue, zip code 21216, we are going to put somebody in office next election cycle. I don't care if I got to knock on 1,500 doors myself and convince 1,500 people myself to put somebody in office. We are going to put somebody in office. Somebody asked me today, they said, brother, when do you think it's a right time to teach your child about police brutality? And I say, right before you let them out of your sight. Right before you let them to go to school. Because the time that they go to school, they have the police cop there. Now, the police cop is also there to say cops are friendly. And now we're going to put our guard down throughout life, and we'll be off kill a little bit when somebody walk up to us and we thinking they're going to protect us, and they see a flashy object like an ink pen and your life is gone. So from the time that child is going to enter into society out of your sight, you better start teaching the child the realness. That's what you need to do. And now, why do I say that and I use police as an example? I hear the same argument. There is some good cops. Friend of mine on Facebook hugging on a friend of his that's a police. Oh, she's a good cop. I don't doubt that. But I have yet to see one cop to go against another cop for an unjust act. Not yet. Somebody gets shot dead in the street. Blip, blip, blip. Not one cop that was on the scene said that cop was wrong. Somebody get beat up, brutalized for a petty theft. I have not seen one cop come out against his brother cop. So if you want to say there's a good cop, that's on you. But I'm telling you, whether it's good or bad cop, we need people in position to police the police. You cannot police the police. You cannot police the police unorganized, is what I'm saying. We need to put somebody in position, and we can make a position within the construct of the police department to police the police and answer to the citizen. All of these things are possible, but they're not possible running up the street yelling, "Black power, black power." That's not getting us anywhere. We understand. It's fine. You're making a point. It's good, it's needed, it's necessary. But to further our political aims and our freedom as a group of people, it's not getting us nowhere. We have to take over the system by the way of putting people in office. Imagine if they say, bang on the beast, bang on the beast. Imagine if you get some. Let me tell you a story real quick before I go. Long time ago. Long, way long time ago. Don't hold this against me. I was in this place. It was college. It was college, right? College spot. And I was like, okay, if we wanted to get up out here, we knock this guard upside his head. Once we knock him upside his head, they call for reinforcement. They got the goon squad in the basement. They come up, boom. Okay, we take the goon squad. After we take the goon squad, what happened with that? Boom. They call in the local police department. They on call, ready to go. Boom. Say we get past that. Next thing they got is the National Guard. Next thing they got is the greatest military that has ever assembled. So, do we have a win that way? No. This is the point that I'm saying. The only win that we have is participating in the system and overtaking the system politically by putting our people in office to make the rules and policies that will govern our lives. If we don't do that, we better not be crying when they banging our young brothers and sisters and they dropping their blood in the streets. There's no need to cry at that point, because we have a duty right now to say, you know what? Let me look online and find out where a temple at in my local area and ask them, do they know about Operation Proclamation? That Brother Tunica El was talking about, that Mathiel was talking about, that Sharif was talking about, and whoever was talking about. And let's see if they don't know. If they don't know in my local temple, maybe somebody can come out and they can do a course at the local temple. But this is what it's all about. This is what's going to get us up out of this mess. We need to vote our own judges in. Judges is a voted position. We need to vote our own judges in. We need to, man, all of these voted position, man. There is no excuse that we haven't organized and voted our own people in. There's some good lawyers out there that want to do the right thing, that will get put on the ballot and don't get supported. So what I'm saying is, man, listen, sisters, listen. We got to take our place in the affairs of men. We can't go crying and burning up stuff the following day after they brutalize and kill our people if we haven't participated in putting our people, a respected, upstanding citizen, in a position to take us to the next level. And with that, I say peace, one love. Hopefully y'all got something out of this. I'm pretty sure you did. But now let's take action. Everybody say, so what do we do now? Find a Moorish American that understand the program of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Not to become a Moorish American, and I can't say it enough. Prophet Noble Drew Ali had a roster of 5,000 people at one point. Throughout the country, some temples 5 here, 5,000. All of them wasn't L's and B's, but they supported the cause. So we ask, let's support the cause so we can change our condition. And with that, I said, peace, one love. And hey, we're going to do this again Sunday. I don't know what to say. This is just a touchy subject to me because our people are dying every day and we fighting the wrong fight, as my brother Sharif Bey say, man. We got to stop fighting the wrong fight, man. I'm in Baltimore. I don't care what temple you belong to. I'm actually going to do a Thursday class I'm doing a Thursday class, Introduction into Moorish Science and Introduction into Operation Proclamation, Thursday at my temple. And I'm inviting anybody to come. I don't care who you are. I know some of my homeboys from back in the day, y'all sneak and watch this. Why he wearing that funny hat? I know you watching. Come on up to the temple. Come on up there, man. Let's talk about it and let's make something happen. Let's stop crying after our people get shot. Let's put people in position so this won't continue to happen. And with that, I say peace and love. I'm out.